welcome back to another episode of Action Video Game Talk, this time covering the Sony E3 press conference. So, let's go ahead and hop right into it. First, the conference kicks off, game-wise, with a gameplay demo of what appears to be God of War, because we see someone who looks like an older Kratos with a boy hunting. And the gameplay leads into the boy spotting some kind of deer, I guess, or buck, I should say, and tries to shoot an arrow at it, and it runs away, and Kratos is trying, I guess trying to help teach this boy hunt. Along the way, they come across some creatures that Kratos more or less has to take care of. And Kratos doesn't have his normal weapons, he just kind of has an axe and stuff, because now this seems more like a Nord mythology at this point, so yeah, much older Kratos does make sense. And at one point they come across this huge troll. So Kratos mostly takes care of the troll and accidentally gets shot in the shoulder by this boy. Whether it's his actual son, I don't know. I mean, we kind of take a hint where it could be, but to be honest, we probably won't know until much later. So at which point they continue hunting down this buck that they apparently first found. And we get to a point where, with the boy, Kratos helps him aim the bow and arrow and shoot. And then come to a tough decision of the boy having to finish off the buck, and he doesn't want to. But with Kratos' help, he does, with a knife through the buck's neck. After that, Kratos is like, now you're ready. And then they pan back and show, I guess, this new land area, so we're no longer in the standard Greek mythology, we're some other place instead. And the final thing we kind of see flying towards the screen, a dragon. And then we see, apparently, this new God of War logo. Now, there's no number, there's no subtitle, it's just a new design for the God of War logo. I guess it's kind of a reboot or continuation into a new chapter. Between now and whenever they decide to release it, they could probably add a name to it, add a number, whatever. But what they showed here was very, very impressive. I mean, a lot of people were talking about possibly showing a God of War 4 or some other kind of additional God of War game, and that's what we got right off the bat. So I'm just curious to see if and when they'll reveal more info on this God of War game. After the God of War game, we kind of get a little, I guess, teaser for another game, which starts out making us think that it might be a sequel to The Last of Us. But instead, it's a title called Days Gone. And this first teaser that we get shows a biker who's part of a ragtag group who lost his girlfriend, woman, person that he loved, and now is kind of like a mercenary in this zombie apocalyptic world. Which, it's, I guess if it's not an actual Last of Us 2, it's probably the closest thing we're gonna get right now, even though, from what I read, this is being made by the people behind Siphon Filter, if I got the name of that right. But the developer of that old series is behind this Days Gone game. That's probably not too bad of an idea. I mean, we'll concern at the end of the show, but we'll get to that. After that, we get a bit more stuff for the last Guardian. A little more gameplay. The boy asking the big creature thing if his wings are broken. And we get an actual release date. October 25th, 2016. October this year, we'll finally, well, so far finally be able to play this game, or it's finally going to be released now. So far. Let's see, we had a few more other titles, and we get something that's a bit strange. You somehow, apparently the video clip is showing you opening your eyes and kind of getting up from a phone ringing. You pick up the phone and you hear a voice say, "If you don't get out of there, they'll kill you," or something like that. You hang up the phone, start exploring this weird, spooky house with you can only see by way of like a flashlight showing. So it seems to be some kind of horror type game, similar to the other PT and Allison Road. And then you come across apparently a VHS tape. Then over to the right, you go to a TV with a VHS player on it. You put the tape in, and it starts showing clips of apparently what your main character was doing beforehand. And then we get a number 7 on the screen, next to a parked car in front of a house. And then it goes from 7 to Resident Evil 7. So more or less, we're getting the next Resident Evil that looks to be a first-person horror type game. And something on this level, we haven't had a full like horror type game since the very first one. Now, this is supposed to be coming out for the standard PS4, but also for the PlayStation VR. There's supposed to be some kind of demo available either now or I guess sometime this week to actually give it a try. They did also have a release date, January 24th, 2017. So yeah, we got a release date for a new Resident Evil game that is going to be available normally for the PS4 and for the PlayStation VR. The one thing I question here is, will this be only exclusive to PlayStation 4, or will it be available on other platforms as well? Because if it is by Capcom, who owns Resident Evil, they could try and put on the Xbox One and even PC as well, especially if they're trying to pull the whole virtual reality route with it as well. Could. Now, I know while I'm recording this, I've been searching the PlayStation Network to see if the demo is up and running yet. I haven't been able to find it. I'm guessing it should be available this week, if not like the day after this happened. I don't know if that date will stay. I don't know if that release date will stay for this game. Between now and then, they could change their mind, they could change the direction they're going with the game, they could change the name on it, they could do anything. I do like the fact that they are going back to horror, and not just be another action/thriller/horror type game. Immediately following the Resident Evil reveal, we get info on the PlayStation VR itself. It is going to be out October 13th, 2016. It's going to be costing $399, and there's supposed to be 50 games between when it launches and the end of the year. I think some of this PlayStation VR info we've kind of known about for a while. I mean, I know when the reserve started for the virtual reality unit, it was guessed about October for the release, and we were kind of presented a possible price being around $300 to $400. Not just for the standard virtual reality headset, but for I think it was like $100 or maybe $200 more for the bundle. I forgot which price range it was. The price on this, I don't know. I still honestly don't know if it's worth it. I mean, if they're going to have so many awesome games for this VR unit, I don't know. I just honestly don't know. So following that, they go to some virtual reality Farpoint game, which... Nope, no clue. And then they go to a Star Wars PlayStation VR, and then it's revealed as Star Wars Battlefront, where you're actually doing battles in space. Some actual spaceship dogfighting battles. which is something that was very much lacking from the original game on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and PC. So hopefully EA is actually paying attention and listening to the fans, and if we're lucky, we might get it into the full version of the Battlefront game, instead of just the VR version. And something interesting was kind of revealed after that. We get, I guess, viewpoints from some cloth material, and we started hearing a somewhat familiar voice. I kind of recognized it right away. It was Mark Hamill's voice, and not the normal Mark Hamill, Joker Mark Hamill. And they reveal Batman's cowl, and then it's like, Batman VR, Rocksteady, DC, October 2016. I'm like, oh my god. It's weird enough that they announce the Star Trek game for the VR devices. They announce a Resident Evil 7 that's compatible with the VR devices. Star Wars Battlefront that they just announced with the space battles. Now we got Batman VR. It's like they're trying to take everyone's money. Bad thing for us gamers who barely have any money for them to take anyway. From there we go to some Final Fantasy 15 stuff with the PlayStation VR. A VR experience. Play as, I don't know if I'm going to get this name right, Prompata. It was a weird name. I was trying to write it down quickly while I was on the screen. So yeah, sorry if I got that name wrong, but more or less Final Fantasy 15 on the VR system. They just keep piling them up, don't they? From there, we get a look at Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And first, I'm assuming that it's meaning that Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is going to be part of the PlayStation VR. It's like, it could be. But instead, I think we're just getting standard Infinite Warfare look. We actually take a look at some of the dogfighting in space, and some of the other shooting and stuff happening in space as well. In which case, it did win over some more of the audience, even though a lot of people hate the direction they're going with the Infinite Warfare. And after they finished showing all the space stuff, they once again brought up the whole remastering of Modern Warfare. After that, we go to what seems like a weird beach area that has the host guy walking onto the stage with a weird Bandicoot shadow. So they announced that Crash Bandicoot is going to be remastered. The first, second, and third games. Why is it taking them this long to actually do this? Why couldn't they have done this around the time that they announced the Jak and Daxter collection and the Ratchet and Clank collection? I mean, I guess they wanted to wait to do this for the PlayStation 4. I don't know how they're going to remaster the PlayStation 1 versions of the games to the PS4. That's going to be a bit weird. Well, at least to me it seems like it'll be weird. And they also say that Skylanders Imaginations is about to get crashed. Crash Bandicoot is going to be available on that game. Now, I don't know if this means that it's going to be a PlayStation exclusive thing. That might be what it is. It might be just because of it being exclusive for PlayStation version of the Skylanders Imaginations game. But I don't know, I mean, if they're going to do that with the PlayStation version, I wonder if Microsoft will try to do something with the Xbox One version of the game. Try to introduce one of their own cutesy little mascot characters. I mean, heck, what could they possibly throw in that people would like to see? What, maybe Conker? Nah, they wouldn't do that. Would they? Following that, we get a look at the LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, and an announcement that a demo for the game is available now, 2 weeks prior to it being released. The demo, this LEGO Star Wars Force Awakens demo, I know I'm presently downloading, so I will be giving it a try once it's finished downloading. Try is the keyword. I know, it's Star Wars. There is no try. Do or do not. There's no try. After this, we get somebody returning to E3. Kojima. Kojima makes a return to E3, and he reveals his latest project that he's working on. So we see handprints starting to form in the sand. We see a guy laying down, and apparently a baby, infant, near him. The guy gets up over the baby, picks it up, and the guy is Norman Reedus. Why not? I mean, after all, there was talks about Norman Reedus working with Kojima on that PT project and wanting to do something else. So I guess this is something he said he'd do. And then the baby infant disappears. We start seeing baby-like handprints going down this lead character's leg and stuff. The lead character stands up, turns around, sees, I think it was 5 or 6 floating characters in the sky, and then they disappear. Then we see the title of this project, Death Stranding. I'm just taking a wild guess here and saying it's some kind of, maybe some horror survival type of game, considering what we were kind of originally going to get with PT. But what we're seeing with this trailer, it could be survival mixed in with horror as well. And some weird supernatural stuff. And I honestly don't know how I feel about this. I mean, it's interesting that Kojima is actually getting out and working on another project, even though we heard that he was shopping for some kind of type of a engine to run his next project off of. So at least we kind of know what he's working on next. The question is when we'll get more info, and hope that doesn't get canceled or anything like that. After that, we get a bit of an unexpected reveal. On the screen, after hearing a bit of talk, we see Insomniac Games. Okay, that's interesting. Looking at what appears to be New York, Brooklyn, and then we see Spider-Man. Or a Spider-Man, because his costume looks different. Much different. Now, I don't know how much of this they showed off, but it doesn't look like it's all quite in-game footage. I mean, they could be using in-game engine for, like, showing off some of the cinematics here, but didn't look like they were using actual gameplay footage. And then they brought up the whole newish logo thing with the spider on the red chest, outfit chest, and they have, like, Spider-Man PS4 as a hashtag, and that's it. Well, I mean, there was talks about a Spider-Man game coming out for PlayStation 4, so I guess we got the reveal for it right here. I mean, I was glad that we actually got to see something. There was technically a lot of rampage and a lot of bad guys getting captured and stuff like that. I know I definitely had to go back and rewatch it, if it's available separately as its own thing on YouTube or something. But I know the whole Spider-Man spider emblem on his chest looked whiter, silver grayish, not your standard black. I don't know, this is one of those things that I wonder if they'll have alternate costumes that you can select as, so you can have something more normal. Because the design that they showed for Spider-Man looks similar all around as far as the standard Spider-Man costume, but it's like little bits here and there do look different. So, And the final thing that they show is an actual live demo gameplay of Days Gone. And on this, you are playing as the biker who's a mercenary who's going after somebody. And you chase them into this whole, I guess, train yard, shipping yard thing. First, you get spooked by a couple of dogs. Well, wolf-like dogs. Huskies, maybe, I don't know. And then some kind of creature takes care of them. And then the same creature is going after this guy that you're trying to find. I think his name was Tupac or something like that. Knowing me, I probably got that name wrong. At which point, you start chasing him to the rooftop, and he kind of sneaks and grabs you from behind, and you two go rolling off the roof of the little building that you're on. onto another roof and roll down in front of a huge horde of zombies. And the guy that you're after is wounded and injured and not going anywhere. So he gets left behind. Your main character runs like a bat out of hell and tries to shoot and dispatch a lot of these zombies. At which point he more or less gets cornered into a spot that he cannot get out of. So that's where they cut off. To me, this looks a lot like the way a Last of Us 2 should be, as far as like third person over the shoulder stuff, but with it being an actual zombie game instead of just other creatures. I don't know. Even though it's a zombie type game instead of what they had originally on the Last of Us, I still have some weird Last of Us feeling coming from this game. I don't know why. I just kind of wonder if other people do as well. To be honest, it does look interesting to try and play as this mercenary, trying to survive. Maybe once I find some more info, maybe see some other footage of it, maybe I'll have a better opinion. But right now, it could have been better, could have been worse. Could have shown other people showing up and helping this guy. So, that was about it for the Sony press conference. And I think the one things that stuck out the most to me was obviously one, the God of War reveal at the beginning, the Resident Evil 7 reveal, the Batman VR, probably the Crash Bandicoots remastering too. Because of me being a Spider-Man fan, I'm definitely going to say Spider-Man as well. Sony did an awesome job with their E3 press conference. But then again, they also only had roughly, I think they said an hour or a little over an hour. So if they had more time, I'm guessing that they would have shown a lot more. People were hoping for some Kingdom Hearts stuff, some Final Fantasy VII Remake stuff as well. They did a good job with what they had. My opinion and view on this might be better if I wasn't sitting through like 2 or 3 other press conferences. So that does it for this episode of Action Video Game Talk. Once again, thanks for joining me today or tonight or whenever you're watching or listening to this video. And down below I will have the links once again. Later on I will have the separate clips for you to check out as well. So if you have any opinions on these press conferences so far, you can go and leave the comments down below. Hopefully for each different press conference that you have an opinion on. You know, the Sony one's on the Sony one, the Ubisoft one's on the Ubisoft. So until next time, bye.